Part 46. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gumyu Shuang. Chapter 451. Sci-Lu held Yingwan's hand and walked around the aquarium for an afternoon. The two of them really had a little bit of a couple's tone. But Yingwan didn't have anything special, and Sci-Lu couldn't show much else. In the end, he took Yingwan to experience some of the amusement facilities in the aquarium. These were things Yingwan had never participated in. That's right, she really had never participated in them. But she didn't have the novelty of ordinary people. Even when she sat on it, she was expressionless. It was hard to tell whether she was happy or not. She was quite indifferent. Sci-Lu looked a little helpless, and asked her when he came down, "Don't you like these things?" Yingwan nodded honestly, "It's not about whether I like it or not, maybe I'm not that interested." Sci-Lu understood it immediately. He glanced at the sky and said, "It's a little late now. Let's eat outside today. I've booked a restaurant." Yingwan nodded, "Okay." She rarely eats out, but it's impossible for her to cook every day. It's also good to try what others make. Sci-Lu booked the best restaurant in Guangdong City. For those who have tasted delicacies from land and sea, the taste is still acceptable. The two of them sat not in a hidden place. Someone in the restaurant recognized Yingwan and Sci-Lu and was surprised. He wanted to find an opportunity to come forward and talk to Yingwan, but unfortunately he was stopped by the same person. That person was different from others. He looked a little unconvinced. "I just want to talk to the academician. Since I have met such a person who has made such a great contribution to our country, it is okay for me to interview him, right?" The Special Forces member looked at the man with a fake smile. He was wearing glasses and looked gentle. He did look like a reporter, but I didn't know which newspaper he was from. Of course, his information would be delivered to the table later. The Special Forces member said sternly, "I'm sorry, Academician Ying never accepts interviews." What a joke. Even the national TV station didn't have a chance. How can these ordinary reporters have a chance? The man still looked unwilling. "Can't you even ask a question? Is the man sitting opposite her the boyfriend of Academician Ying?" The Special Forces member still said coldly, "This is not something you should care about. The man probably has never suffered a loss." When he returned, he glanced at Yingwan and snorted coldly, "You are quite arrogant." One of the Special Forces members immediately frowned, and the other immediately reached out to stop him and shook his head. After all, they are ordinary people, and they cannot be violent, otherwise it will have a bad impact. Yingwan and Sci-Lu also saw the noise over there. At this moment, the man actually raised a mobile phone and filmed Yingwan and Sci-Lu. The team member immediately walked over, stretched out his hand and knocked his phone away, smiling, "Are you looking for death?" The man actually didn't know who was around Academician Ying, he just thought they were ordinary bodyguards, and immediately said in a hurry, "What are you doing? You hit someone's phone, don't we have the freedom to film? Academician is still on the show, why can't we film it?" The clamor made Sci-Lu raise his head. He glanced in this direction, suddenly stood up and walked towards the man. Seeing that the phone that was knocked down by the team member was picked up by him, Sci-Lu smiled and stretched out his hand, "Give it to me." The man was not convinced. "Why? This is my phone, you are breaking the law dash." Before he finished saying the word breaking the law, Sci-Lu took the phone away. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gumyu Shuang. Chapter 452. The man was anxious and was stopped by the Special Forces when he tried to grab the phone. Looking at the phone again, although the video was interrupted, it was still saved. It was just a video, it didn't seem like much, but there was a lot to write about. Sci-Lu didn't want the two people's affairs to be on the hot search with this kind of news. Even if he could suppress it at that time, it would inevitably cause an impact. He deleted the video immediately and looked at the man with gloomy eyes. If I find you secretly filming again, I will let you know why there is hell in this world besides heaven. He said it harshly, and the chill seemed to be tempered in the words. The man didn't dare to look directly at Silu's eyes and shuddered. Cold sweat broke out, but he still insisted in a low voice, "It's my freedom to take photos, you are breaking the law." Who told you it's your freedom? I'm an amateur. If you dare to take photos of me and infringe my portrait rights, I can make you bankrupt with just one sentence. Throwing the phone back on the table, Silu looked disdainful and lowered his voice, "You should be grateful that she is here, otherwise I would never talk so much nonsense with a cheap person like you." He retracted his gaze, turned his face, and smiled brightly at Yingwan. As if there was no unhappiness at all. He walked over and said gently, "It's solved." The man was afraid of Silu's eyes just now, and he took the phone to pay the bill and left in a hurry. Their dispute also attracted the attention of others, but because the special forces were obviously not easy to mess with, and someone recognized Yingwan, no one came up to rescue him. Yingwan said, "Next time, don't argue with such people." Silu frowned, "He is mocking you." The arrogant Silu heard that sentence. If it were his temper, he might have beaten someone up. He couldn't stand anyone talking about Yingwan. He just held back because he thought it would have a bad impact on Yingwan. Only Yingwan was on camera here. His news had been covered up by the authorities, so it was easy to imagine who this person was talking about. Yingwan shook her head, "Then let him know how arrogant I am." This was not the first time she had met such a person. She had met him several times since she appeared on camera. Silu didn't know why he remembered Yingwan's words when Lin Baojun came. He told him to stay away. This person was actually a black-bellied person in his bones, and he would not suffer any loss. Silu laughed and suddenly thought of the Lin family. However, the Lin family was lost now. He was stuck abroad and couldn't come back, so he didn't dare to contact Yingwan again. He probably understood how much influence Yingwan's identity represented. This person couldn't be said. Just as he was talking, Yingwan's phone rang. The caller was none other than Lin's family member, Lin Mei. Lin Mei's tone was still very cheerful, "Wan Wan, what are you doing?" Yingwan didn't turn on the speakerphone, but just whispered, "I'm having dinner with Silu." Lin Mei was a little grumbling at the time, "You are having dinner with Silu? The one across from our house? Why does he always come to our house for free meals? As a sister, I can only see people through live broadcasts, and I am usually very busy. Now I hear that a man comes to eat for free, and I feel weird." Although she knows that Silu is pursuing someone. Yingwan is very direct, "I am dating him now." Silu over there heard Yingwan admit it so directly, and his heart was about to take off again. Lin Mei was confused. "How long has it been? Did he really agree?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 453. She thought that Yingwan would at least cover it up with her personality. She didn't expect Yingwan to be so direct. But think about it, what's there to cover up? It's not shameful for two people to be in love. Besides, Silu is really capable. Lin Mei sincerely wished her, "I wish you happiness, just be happy." Yingwan said and asked, "By the way, how are you now?" Lin Mei fell from the live broadcast and returned to the capital to recuperate. Yingwan knew about her concussion now, but she didn't know how Lin Mei herself was doing. Lin Mei immediately said, "It's okay, I'm almost well, and I don't feel dizzy anymore." But the doctor insisted that it was not safe and she had to continue to recuperate. She was fine to recuperate. She called the crew and the director told her to rest until she was fine. Anyway, the big boss behind the investment was not in a hurry, so why should he, the director, be in a hurry? If the heroine got into trouble, then of course the heroine should be given priority. Yingwan, that's good. Lin Mei laughed, and suddenly thought of something, and said, do you know that Wensu is in trouble? Yingwan said, Wensu? Oh, what happened to him? She didn't care about this person, but when Lin Mei was in trouble a few days ago, there were fans who came out to stir up trouble and drag Wensu into the water. The matter became a big deal. Now it has not been resolved, and Yingwan doesn't care, because he is just a stranger who has nothing to do with it. Lin Mei whispered, his affairs have been exposed, and it seems that he was beaten. He is in the hospital now. I don't know who did it. She said this to test Yingwan's attitude. Because of the things on the internet, Wensu's fans attacked Lin Mei badly, using all kinds of dirty words. Although Lin Mei's fans are not much worse, it is still ugly. Lin Mei initially thought that Yingwan was responsible for Wensu's misfortune. Yingwan heard her hidden meaning and said, I don't know about this. Is that so? Lin Mei was a little confused. She thought Yingwan couldn't stand it anymore and asked someone to deal with Wensu. Now that I think about it, it was indeed quite self-indulgent. After hanging up the phone, Lin Mei sighed, I thought it was Wan Wan who vented my anger. With your IQ, Su Xiao rolled his eyes in annoyance, I think Yingwan would never use such means no matter what. The news I got was that Wensu was beaten by the husband of a female star. He deserved it. He had to pay for what he had done. Look at how his fans are attacking you online. They really have no idea now. Lin Mei said, have all his affairs been exposed? Su Xiao, of course they have been exposed. There are several female stars behind the scenes. We don't need to fish in troubled waters, just stand by and watch. Those materials are enough to kill him. In the past, other people's black materials could be washed in various ways, but Wensu was someone else's stepping into trouble, and all kinds of hammers were used to hammer him to death. No matter how to say it, letting others help get resources to the top and then kicking them is still too much. Unless they are extremely brain-dead fans, anyone who is a little more rational will of course stop being a fan immediately. Wensu was in a state of panic. When the news broke, he offended fans of several female stars. Those who had promoted the CP in the past knew that Wensu was such a scumbag and they were eager to settle the line with him in a minute. Not to mention that the program crew wanted to compensate him, he couldn't even keep the resources he had. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 454. The production team of Family Time seems to be in bad luck. The last one was Ye and I, but this Wensu is not a good person either. Now such a big thing has happened and he has been hammered so hard, I guess the higher UPS have opinions. Now those who can appear on the show with academician Ying, even if they are not together, as long as they are on the same show, the higher UPS will not allow anything that damages their image to exist. Of course, Wensu will be kicked out in a minute. In other words, they have to change people again. However, changing people is something they should be entangled with. If Wensu offends the current fans of Lin Mei, it will be a dead end. It is only a matter of time before he disappears completely in the entertainment circle. Although Lin Mei did not do much this time, seeing that she has such great power because of her sister, she dared not offend her. Suddenly everyone in the circle felt insecure. Those who had some grievances with Lin Mei personally sent text messages to apologize and even invited Lin Mei to dinner. After all, it is unknown how far Yingwan is willing to go for Lin Mei. Now, Wensu has also been in trouble. Although it is his own fault, they don't know who is in trouble. Of course, it is Lin Mei's fault. Yingwan just watched the excitement of these entertainment circle things and didn't care at all. After she and Si Lu returned home, They stayed in the countryside for a few days and then returned to the imperial capital to attend Si Guanyi's birthday. Although they started dating, they were destined not to be as sweet as other young couples. Yingwan had her own things to do, and Si Lu was not without things. His father's birthday was a test for him. Now Si Guanyi is deliberately training him to accept those family relationships and things, and he can't be willful. Who let Si Guanyi have only him as a son? He can only bear this hardship. So before getting along with Yingwan, Si Lu was forced to recall to the imperial capital. He was in a better mood when he thought that Yingwan would come to the imperial capital 2 days later. When he returned home, Si Guanyi didn't know that Si Lu and Yingwan were already dating. Si Lu's close friends knew about it but didn't dare to spread it outside. They just told their friends in private. Everyone knew about it but didn't spread it. Si Guanyi was not one of the young people in their circle, so not many people in the imperial capital knew about it. But Si Guanyi kept talking about it. When he saw Si Lu, he ran to Guangdong City. When he came back, he had the leisure to mock Si Lu. It seems that you really won't cry until you see the coffin. Why should I see the coffin? Si Lu sat on the sofa and flipped through the list of invitations to Si Guanyi's birthday. He had to remember the people. This was basic etiquette. When he raised his eyelids and looked at Si Guanyi, his nonchalant tone was also full of pride. I call it waiting for the clouds to clear and see the moon. Si Guanyi immediately heard something wrong and looked a little surprised. Did you succeed? Si Lu's voice was full of low joy. I told you, you have to believe your son. Si Guanyi looked at Si Lu deeply. He didn't expect that this man really succeeded in catching up with the person. The key is that the other party is Yingwan. Although Si Guanyi had thought of this before, it did not affect his true thoughts. Si Guanyi, it seems that Yingwan's taste is not as picky as I thought. Si Lu. His face darkened for a moment, and he sneered again. Picky? You can compare me with her. Look at people of this age, who is more suitable for her than me? Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 455. Si Lu is also very confident in himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so bold as to chase someone directly. Now Yingwan has taken a fancy to him, which means that this matter makes sense. Seeing his appearance, Si Guanyi knew that he was now successful and would probably be arrogant for a while, so he still warned him, it's your business if you catch up with the person. You still have to do what you should do. Go to France next month to discuss a business, which will take at least half a month. You can do it yourself. When Si Lu heard half a month, he immediately turned his face and said, why half a month? The people of the Suster family have always been difficult to deal with. If you can negotiate the shareholders' meeting by yourself, the group will not continue to talk so much nonsense. This cooperation is very important. I estimate that it will take half a month. If you can advance, your father will admire you. It's just half a month. What's the matter? Are you afraid that the person will run away? Didn't you say that you are worthy of it just now? Now you are so unconfident in yourself. Si Lu snorted coldly at the tip of his nose and didn't answer. Si Guanyi smiled and looked at him, shook his head, and left first. In the evening, Si Lu was at the headquarters of the Si group in the imperial capital. After finishing his work, he pushed his notebook aside and rubbed the tip of his nose. He was still focused when doing things, but he would be distracted by thinking of Yingwan from time to time. But distraction was useless. He would waste time if he couldn't finish his work. Now he was almost done. He looked at the time and it was 9 o'clock in the evening. Very good, Yingwan must not have slept. First, Yingwan sent a message. After a minute, Yingwan still didn't respond. After a moment of silence, Si Lu directly played a voice message. Maybe there was a notification sound on WeChat, Yingwan answered it quickly. When the voice message was connected, a calm female voice like a crisp bell sounded, "What are you doing?" Some watery hoarse texture, as if it just came out from somewhere. Si Lu raised his eyebrows slightly, and he was happy when he heard Yingwan's call. The corners of his lips were unconsciously hooked. "Did I disturb you?" "No, I just changed dog food for Xiaohei." After she said this, she probably heard her own name and could hear Xiaohei's woof woof sound in the phone. Si Lu asked, "Why do you always change the dog food? Can't it eat it all at once?" "It doesn't eat much dog food. It's often left over and it will go bad." Xiaohei always follows Yingwan to eat her own meals, so most of the time Xiaohei rarely eats dog food. The dog food is of course high-end, but the taste is not as good as the food made by Yingwan. When Si Lu mentioned eating, he missed it a little. He thought of Yingwan's cooking skills and licked his tongue. "I want to eat the food you cook." After returning to the Si family and eating the food cooked by the Si family chef, the taste was actually very good, but compared with Yingwan's, it was always a little worse. Even though he only ate a few meals, it seemed that Yingwan's cooking skills had spoiled his appetite. "Yingwan, you can learn to cook by yourself. Cooking is a very simple thing." Si Lu. He couldn't help but laugh, and his slender fingertips tapped on the table, making a knocking sound. "I just want to eat the food you cook." There was a knock on the door. Si Lu's office was separate, but it was transparent at the moment. Someone came to hand in work materials. Seeing Si Lu making a phone call inside, the smile on the famously unruly young master's face was surprisingly sweet, a little dazzling. Dazzling, but the door still had to be knocked. After knocking with gritted teeth, as expected, Si Lu's eyes suddenly became cold and projected over. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 456. Maybe he was upset that the other party interrupted Yingwan's voice call with him. However, Si Lu made a gesture, and the other party pushed the door in, handed the information to Si Lu's desk, and then respectfully left. When leaving, he only heard a very sexy and seductive sentence, "How can it be as delicious as what you cook?" The person who came to hand in the information seemed to feel the cold wind in February and shivered. He couldn't help but turn his head back in fear. Fortunately, Si Lu didn't notice him. "Is the prince in love?" You should know that Si Lu has been working in C's company for a while. People outside don't know, but people in the company know who his father is very clear. Naturally, they know what the identity of this prince is and how amazing his worth is. His appearance is even more outstanding, and no one who has seen him can forget it. There were many people in the company who wanted to pretend to be stupid and get close to the prince to win his favor. Later, they realized the prince's cruelty and ruthlessness and couldn't even keep their jobs. In serious cases, they were directly banned from the industry. No one dared to covet this prince anymore. Although beauties are beautiful and rich, you have to be able to control them. If your future is blocked and the other party may step on you, then you will not be able to enjoy it. I heard that he is only 28 years old and still single. If he is single at this age and does not mess around with men and women, he is either gay or has problems in some aspects. After all, if you expect people of their class to be focused or single-minded, the probability is no less than that of Halley's Comet hitting the Earth. So this manager knew that Si Lu's voice was a little strange, and estimated that he was probably in love. The prince is in love. It is simply a big news that shocked the world. The manager was a little excited, as if he knew some shocking secret, and he wanted to hold his mobile phone and immediately publicize it in the company. But he remembered that he knew that the prince was talking to his girlfriend on the phone when he submitted the information just now. What if he was the only one who knew it? If he told others, he would be a sitting duck in a minute. If the prince didn't want to make it public, wouldn't he be skinned alive? Thinking of this, the man shuddered and dared not say anything. It was not good to keep the secret in his heart, and he was even more curious about who could be favored by the prince. You usually don't eat the food I cook, but you still live your life as usual. Yingwan's voice was light and he asked again, you picked this time to talk to me, are you just done? Yeah. He stood up, stretched, stood in front of the huge glass window of the building and looked at the night view of the city outside, overlooking the entire imperial capital. The excellent geographical location also represents the class here. His voice was lazy, and it was as soft as a mint candy. I haven't seen you for a day, but I've spent years. I miss you so much. Once I have free time at work, I want to talk to you. If you don't answer, I feel like I can't live anymore. The love words came out naturally, but Yingwan was not the kind of person who was easily shy. She replied very calmly, we didn't say a word in a week before. How do you survive? Live now. Lu couldn't help laughing, can you be a little touched? Wan, isn't it natural for your boyfriend to miss you? Don't you miss me? Yingwan. She was silent for a few seconds, and whispered, only a little. When her mind was free, she could think of many things and calculate many things. Thinking of Lu was inevitable, but it was not the main thing, so it was only a little. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 457. Only a little. Lu felt a little disappointed when he heard this, but he still found it funny. I'm thinking of you all the time. Yingwan said lightly, really? Then can you still do things while working? Lu paused, then chuckled, it's because I miss you too much. I have to find something to do, otherwise I will think about you all day. You don't know how uncomfortable it is, and I can't see you. Before they started dating, Yingwan thought Lu was a man of some integrity. Now she felt that she had misjudged Lu before. Lu was not a man of integrity at all. He just didn't get the opportunity. Now that the opportunity has come, he has started to get worse. Sweet words came out of her mouth. Yingwan didn't feel much disgusted, but she couldn't say she was moved. Maybe she was originally a person with a relatively light emotion, and she couldn't show the shyness that ordinary people have, let alone other emotions. Yingwan touched the black guy and said, I'll come over tomorrow afternoon, let's have dinner together then. This was the first time she took the initiative to invite him to dinner, and Lu's eyes lit up at that time. Okay, what do you want to eat? Yingwan, I'm fine with anything. Lu, then I'll wait for you to come over then. After talking about things, Lu was in a good mood. He was ready to get off work, and Yingwan also had to get busy. Lonely Genius sent a message to Yingwan on WeChat, saying that he was going back to China recently and asked Yingwan if he had time. They could meet in advance. He couldn't wait to discuss with Yingwan about the AI plan they talked about on the internet and create a big business together. Yingwan certainly had no objection. She had time anytime now. She saw that Lonely Genius would return to China next week, and she could meet him just after attending Guanyi's birthday party. Yingwan and him confirmed the final time and sorted out a detailed information. When the time comes, he will show it to him. If he has any thoughts, the AI research plan can be officially launched. The next day, Yingwan was leaving for the capital. Since she was taking Xiaohe and Dahe with her, she simply asked Bai Ya's private plane to pick her up. When she got off the plane, Lu was still in the company. She didn't tell Lu that she had arrived early, and the person who came to pick her up was her own company. The secretary beside Bai Ya. This secretary was new, mainly responsible for the field affairs outside. She was a girl, young and beautiful, and fortunately Zhu Liu had no objection. However, This secretary was obviously not as calm as the previous ones. When she saw Yinghuan, she looked at Yinghuan frequently, her eyes full of admiration. She only knew that Yinghuan was an academician before, and his identity was only made public not long ago. She didn't expect that the big boss that the vice president asked her to take over was also Yinghuan. This world is really so unfair. Thinking about how hard she worked to study, she finally made a name for herself, while others could easily create a supergroup with a very high IQ. It's true that people are so annoying when compared to others. But it is useless to be jealous of such people. After all, their IQ is really too high to crush everything. They are completely superior to humans and are worthy of being gods. We can only envy them, not be jealous. After sending Yinghuan to the company, the secretary sent a message to her cousin who was thousands of miles away during the next break. What people did not expect was that her distant cousin was Ye-ni. Because the two knew each other since childhood and had a good relationship, the real reason why Ye-ni went abroad was unknown to anyone except the Ye family. This sister was full of showing off at the moment. Becoming the richest by farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 458. Sister, this is awesome. I met the boss of my workplace. Do you know who he is? Say it and it will shock your whole family. This boss is academician Ying, who was famous some time ago, Lin Mei's sister. She is not only an academician, but she is also in charge of a group as big as Wanteng at such a young age. It is simply too powerful. I couldn't believe it at the time. I was so nervous in front of her that I didn't know where to place my arms and legs. Ye-ni originally spent some leisure time abroad, although she was a little unwilling to quit the industry. However, she has been relaxing abroad recently. She has experienced a free state of mind that she has never experienced before, and she does not have to force herself to smile in front of anyone. She just can't return to the circle. She is currently preparing for some exams and preparing to work in the family business. She still remembered about Lin Mei, and read the news from time to time. She was still jealous of this woman, but when she thought of having such a powerful sister, she felt so powerless now that she didn't dare to go back and look for trouble. At this moment, she saw a message from a distant cousin she hadn't contacted for a while, and she spat out all the juice in her mouth. Is the big boss of Wanteng Group also Yinghuan? Ye-ni is going crazy. She had been targeting Lin Mei so crazily before. Just seeing that Yinghuan was an academician made her extremely scared. She didn't expect that the other party was Wanteng's boss. It's late. Ye-ni is not stupid. Of course she knows what kind of existence Wanteng is. Thinking about all the things in the past, Ye-ni is stupid. Yinghuan really didn't want to deal with her, or in other words, he didn't take her seriously. Otherwise, with Wanteng's strength, it would be extremely easy to force her to withdraw from the circle and disappear. And she also thought about targeting Yinghuan later? Ye-ni almost didn't give herself a slap. If she hadn't retreated quickly, she wouldn't have known how to die now. She thought of the worldly man that Lin Mei got. No wonder she could suddenly get the heroine. The big investor behind the relationship was her sister, so this was the resource that her sister gave to her sister casually. Ye-ni deeply realized what it means to one day turn a sparrow into a phoenix, and Lin Mei hugged her into her lap. Simply so infuriating. After being angry, all that was left was powerlessness. It happened to be Lin Mei. Why did it happen to be Lin Mei? Yinghuan didn't know that there was someone abroad who was terrified because her identity was exposed. She returned to the company to deal with some things, and when she had nothing to do, she went to inspect the Wanteng headquarters. The main thing is to experience the atmosphere of the employees. I randomly picked a floor, which was probably the planning department. A large number of employees were sitting around, some were running around, and some were eating snacks. This is not because they are not serious, but because Wanteng's atmosphere is very relaxed. As long as employees complete their tasks, they will basically not force them to perform. After all, ability is the most important thing. If they fail to complete the assigned tasks, they will naturally be kicked out of Wanteng. You know it yourself. There were a few people gathered together who were talking about celebrities, but when the elevator on this floor opened, Yingwan appeared. Everyone just looked back and the whole place was silent for a moment. Yingwan smiled lightly and greeted everyone, "Hello." There was a pop sound, and someone almost fell off his seat. Several employees quickly ran back to their seats from other positions, trying their best to respond in a neat voice in the panic. "Hello, Director Ying. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 459. This unanimous voice was still very shocking. This was Yingwan's first time here. When she opened Wanteng before, she basically never came here once. She would discuss any important matters with Bai Ya in the video. After all, Wanteng was originally a high-tech company that started with chips. The products were all developed by her, and she was usually behind the scenes. Otherwise, Yingwan's appearance in the company last time would not have caused a sensation. Of course, the sensation was a sensation. Last time it was Yingwan who showed up. What everyone didn't expect this time was that the big boss came to the place where ordinary employees worked in person. It was simply shocking to everyone. Since Yingwan became famous, they have watched Yingwan's live broadcast, but this is the first time they have seen Yingwan in real life. Let alone anything else, Yingwan is really beautiful. The employees looked at Yingwan and couldn't help sighing. She is good looking and has an absurdly high IQ. It's simply that all the good things are piled on Yingwan alone. "I'm just here to take a look. Don't be restrained." Yingwan thought it was interesting because she had never been here before. She just came down to see the working atmosphere of the employees. I know. Welcome, Director Ying." "Hello, Director Ying." Everyone greeted her with trepidation, their eyes were full of curiosity, and their hands were shaking with their phones. "I want to post on WeChat Moments and Weibo. It feels like a great honor to meet Yingwan." Yingwan came over and looked around. Although she was not old, and there were even a lot of people older than her, everyone still felt very pressured when they saw Yingwan, mainly because of the difference in status. Another employee happened to be watching Yingwan's live broadcast. Since Yingwan came suddenly, she didn't even turn off the video, and was seen by Yingwan. At that time, this person secretly said that it was over. Although the company is very free, it is completely different to be seen by the big boss watching variety shows during working hours. Unexpectedly, Yingwan just smiled and said, "You can relax during work hours." The female employee was relieved to see Yingwan so friendly and not as cold as she was in the live video. She smiled cautiously, "Mr. Ying, is your sister okay now?" She was half a fan of Lin Mei, mainly because she liked Lin Mei's face. "I didn't expect that one day I would be able to meet her sister first." Everyone took a breath of cold air when they heard that this person was so bold and asked Yingwan about Lin Mei. Yingwan said naturally, "She's fine." After that, he smiled and nodded, "It seems that you are very nervous about me being here. I just came down to take a look. You can continue to be busy." She originally just wanted to take a look. It can be seen as a whim. She didn't mean anything else. She came to say hello to everyone and then turned and left. As soon as she left, the atmosphere in the office relaxed. "Wow, I really didn't expect the big boss to come. She's too young, President Ying is so awesome. She's a female role model. This isn't something that can be explained by a role model, she's simply a pioneer of humanity." People in the office were praising Yingwan one after another. Of course, everyone was so excited because Yingwan was awesome. Now that they saw her leave, some people couldn't stop being excited and took out their phones to post to their moments. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 460. Of course, no one dared to reveal Yingwan's identity casually. They just expressed their excitement as if they had met their boss. At the age of 24, she has created so many miracles. Now she owns the largest chip company in the country. It makes people feel that she is a person who exists in dreams. Now it has become a reality, which is still hard to believe. Yingwan left this floor and received a call from Sci-Lu when she took the elevator downstairs. He said on the phone, "I heard that you are back to the capital." He also has some information channels. Yingwan's return to the capital is not something hidden. It is estimated that he has received the news at this time. Yingwan said lightly, and Sci-Lu was a little unhappy. "Why didn't you tell me? Don't you have time in the afternoon?" Yingwan was as calm as always. "I came to the company to take a look and deal with some things when I arrived first." It was still mid-afternoon, and Sci-Lu was not done with his work, so Yingwan didn't plan to look for him. Sci-Lu heard this and said, "That being said, you can let me know. If you have nothing to do in the afternoon, can you come to my place?" "No, I plan to go see Lin Mei in the afternoon. She is still in the hospital." Sci-Lu, as a younger sister, can't just ignore her sister's concern. Sci-Lu didn't force it when he heard it. "Okay, say hello to her for me. After all, she is his girlfriend's sister, so he should be polite." Yingwan, "Okay." Arriving at the underground parking lot, Suhan was waiting here. When he saw Yingwan coming out, he immediately drove the car over and parked in front of her. She got in the car and said to Suhan, "Go to Lin Mei's hospital." Suhan spoke instead, "She is not in the hospital now." Knowing where Yingwan's approximate itinerary was going, Suhan investigated everything very clearly. Of course, Lin Mei, who was in the hospital now, was also being investigated. After all, she was not an ordinary person now. She was Yingwan's sister. Just based on this identity, there were countless people who wanted to curry favor with Lin Mei. People who usually contacted Lin Mei had to start checking now, and her whereabouts were naturally within their scope of attention. Mainly because he was afraid that something bad would happen, Su Xiao has recently started to arrange better bodyguards for Lin Mei. Yingwan was a little surprised. Shouldn't she stay in the hospital? Did she go back to film? Suhan paused, and said, "No, it was Lin Baoxi who returned to China. She went to see Lin Baoxi. I don't want to trouble you, so I didn't tell you." Yingwan was silent for a while. Although there was a restraining order against the Lin family, Lin Baoxi was still safe on the surface. She didn't do anything excessive. In addition, her studies were also in China, so it was not surprising that she came back. But now that the Lin family has been in trouble, she should not choose to come back. Yingwan only asked, "Why did Lin Baoxi return to China?" Suhan, "She should have returned to China to continue her studies. She is not as free as before when she is abroad." Lin Jiarui also plans to let Lin Baoxi marry a rich second generation from abroad first. This surprised Yingwan a little. She mainly thought that the Lin family had gone abroad, and after the incident between Lin Mei and her, they could still set their sights on the only remaining daughter. Although the Lin family has nothing to do with Yingwan, Suhan and the others must get the latest news to prevent the Lin family from doing anything else. Lin Baoxi's matter has nothing to do with Yingwan, so Suhan did not tell Yingwan.